Spring Split champions!
3 rookies prove themselves worthy of the top 4 in the EU LCS. A double kill from Perks! This guy is a madman! He can do it! Oh, Memento! You beautiful man!
Guess the Quadra gonna be a penta for Kobe!
It's time to find out who will rise. This is the EU LCS.
Welcome to Ready Check for some banter and hard-hitting analysis ahead of your day in the EU LCS. I'm Daniel Drakos, joined by Andrew Vedius Day and Dan Foxdrop. Why? Welcome back,
friend.
Hello.
Vedius,
Hi.
you're way more pink now.
Foxdrop,
Foxdrop, you're way less pink.
I'm flexing the diversity. I'm showing I can do it both. I'm like a reverse butterfly. I'm now the ugly caterpillar.
I was gonna say you're like a budget Pixar villain with the fox on the flag.
Wow! One day you're just like, right, the gloves are off. This is it. Welcome to Europe.
All right, well, currently leading the EU LCS as we get back on track, we've got G2 Esports and Misfits Gaming. These are the only undefeated teams in the EU LCS.
Yes, they are certainly looking good and kind of starting to separate themselves from the rest of the squads here in Europe. Really looking for other teams to challenge them as we kind of move down to the bottom half of the table with things not looking so pretty.
Yeah, HUK and Splice are the only teams who've yet to pick up victories, but we can give a little bit of leeway to Splice potentially from their schedule. Has been quite tough so far, so maybe they can put it around.
And you're not giving any leeway to H2K there.
Well, I was going to gloss over that. But yeah, no, they just not look great.
It's been a rocky road for them as well. Of course, Fnatic coming in, though, an interesting story, securing their 2nd win yesterday and their 1st win of the season without Reckless. Still so surprising not to see this guy playing. Interesting choice from Fnatic.
I mean, I think it's worked out from what we've seen so far. One of the cool things that we heard from Maxor and PGL yesterday was that it gives you a lot of, it makes it difficult to know where they're going to play what. They had like Ryze, Irelia, Mundo, and Nocturne, and we were like, okay, all 4 of those champions can go in every position, and all of them can play all of them.
I love how you're still forcing Nocturne.
Yeah,
like it's a
Caps has been practicing it mid. He can flex it mid.
A bit generous on that one, buddy.
The point is, they can flex a lot, and I think that makes them quite an interesting contender in today's games.
Definitely does. Well, we'll talk more about Fnatic later as they face off against Vitality in our final game. Of course, exciting schedule across the board when you see it. Now, which game stands out the most to you guys?
I'm going with UL Spice, personally, because both these teams, they look great, honestly, and Spice is still looking to get their 1st win. And I did mention the schedule before, and if I want to keep being able to use that as an excuse, then they have to win today.
That's fair. I've got my eyes on Roccat versus Schalke. Given Rockat's performance yesterday and the inconsistency that we've been seeing from Schalke, I think that it could be quite a dynamic back and forth, and we'll see whether or not Memento can step up like it did yesterday.
We want to see how that improves. Misfits, of course, look like they're probably just going to continue to dominate in their matchup versus Giants. Do we feel like Giants can get anything done here? Is there an edge here? No, you're just
in the opposite vein of their name, there is a tiny chance that they can win, but a giant chance that they're going to get absolutely rolled over.
Oh my God.
That's my professional analysis.
It feels like the meta is starting, well, not the meta, but the games are starting to, you know, kind of settle down. We're starting to be able to predict pretty accurately. We'll find out, of course, a little bit later.
Well, some of us can predict accurately. I don't know about everyone here on the
we're never going to live down this Roccat prediction. All right, well, if yesterday was any indication, today should be filled with explosive moments. Let's see what players Pyra is looking at going into the day.
Thank you very much, Drakos. I've got my eye on a couple of players. Well, in fact, 3 players. We're going to go ahead and start with none other than G2's mid laner, Perks. They played the funnel strategy. Okay, so you're going to have a guy that's getting big. Well, Perks did exactly what he needed to do. An incredibly impressive performance from a guy that honestly was saying he was feeling a bit burnt out, a little bit of a rough spring split for this dude. Once you get to level 16 on this Kai'Sa, he just starts to run rampant, and we can see where the pentakill all comes in here. But this is fantastic stuff for G2 as a team to try and get back on the board, and they're playing this very, very well right now. And honestly, this keeps up. I'm a little worried for H2K today, if I wasn't already. But that's not all we've got. I want to move on a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about our next guy. It is going to be the Unicorns of Love's jungler, Cold. He started out very well, getting Exile ahead, the win condition that everyone's identified for the Unicorns, but then he comes in with a few big plays of his own, especially right around the back of that Baron pit. Cold sets up very, very carefully and just buys as much time as he needs. The team is kind of moving around him a little bit. He eventually gets in. He pulls off this incredible Baron steal. Cold's just looking like such a good player right now. And honestly, they're going to need this one up against Splice tomorrow, or today rather, because it's going to be pretty impressive performance. I think let's move on a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about our last guy. Actually, wait, hold on. I'm going to keep going with this one. This is the Baron steal. This is what we're talking about. He comes in around the side. It's perfect timing. Honestly, you can't really time it any better than this. Yes, it's full vision, but sometimes it comes down to that 50-50 smite, and that's all you really need to do to execute. So Cold's got big plays. We're looking to see what he's got coming up next. Now let's move up north. Talking about Cold, I'm talking about the North Norwegian, Norscarin. This guy, he makes big plays. That's not all he does. He's also good at saving people's lives. He picked Tom Kench this time around. Roccat, so many of these members didn't die. This gave Vedius the smuggest face of all time. However, he still was going in trying to make a couple of big plays. Let's roll this one out because, as they say in solo queue, I'm helping. Sometimes you can flash the wall, you can go for the tongue lash. It doesn't go anywhere, but you can see those killer instincts for this guy. Now, those are the players I'm looking at today. I want to know what you guys think. Back to you, gentlemen.
And thank you very much, Pi, of course, for some more insight on today's game. Let's hear from our Hungarian colleagues at Magyar LOL TV.
A szót Drakos, és ezúton is üdvözölnénk az angol közvetítés nézőit. Mi itt a Magyar LOL TV stúdiójában szintén nagyon izgatottan várjuk a mai ütközeteket, hiszen az elmúlt 3 mérkőzésnap során már elkezdtek körvonalazódni az igazi európai erőviszonyok.
Talán annyiban egyetérthetünk, hogy a G2, illetve a Misfits nagyon erősen kezdték a nyári alapszakaszt, olyan húzó nevekkel, mint például Perks, aki Kajszával játszott, illetve Hansama, aki lövészeivel mutatta meg, hogy mire is képes.
Így van, és talán el is várhatjuk azt, hogy ők a mai mérkőzéseiket dominánsan megnyerjék, ám sokkal kiélezettebb csatákkal lehet számolni a Roccat és a Schalke, valamint a Unicorns of Love és a Splice találkozásainak esetében, ahol elmondhatjuk, hogy még picikét bizonytalanok, eddig legalábbis nem nyújtottak túlságosan meggyőző teljesítményt.
A nap fénypontja pedig a Fnatic, illetve a Vitality mérkőzés lehet, ugyanis mindkét csapat elveszített már egy meccset, de az, hogy Vipót becserélték méghozzá új szerepkörbe, egy plusz löketet adhat a Fnaticnek, a másik oldalról pedig a Vitalitynél a vezető személyiséget Attilában kell keresnünk, aki eddig mindhárom mérkőzésen nagyon jól játszott, és a Vitalitynek csapatszinten is eléggé jól fekszik ez a meta.
Egyet kell, hogy értsek, viszont egy dolog biztos, hogy a mai nap folyamán is hihetetlenül izgalmas mérkőzéseket várunk. Mi viszont nem húzzuk tovább az időt, kezdődjenek a mérkőzések, köszönjük a lehetőséget, a szó a kinti kollégáké.
I love it. I love so much what they're saying. It doesn't matter what language you're speaking. It seems like most everybody's on the same page, though they're pretty convinced. Unicorns of Love, Splice going to be a very close matchup. So I'm excited to see how that one unfolds. Of course, you can watch Thanatos and Bootsy on the EU LCS Hungarian broadcast over at twitch.tv/MagyarLolTV if you want to check them out over there. Of course, if you haven't already checked out our podcast, Euphoria, it is available on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Features banter, bets. Last week it featured Vedius too, as well as much more. And this week, Vedius and Amazing, they added some stakes to Schalke versus G2. Vedius, what was the bet?
So, I predicted that G2 would beat Schalke. Amazing said that they should be able to beat G2. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So, what ended up happening was the winner had to make the loser do a dance of a champion from the game. And I have chosen Volibear, and that means that Amazing must do the Volibear finger gun and dance
there you
at
go.
some
we
point
got
for
the
us. There it is.
Has to put it out on Twitter. We need a full video of the dance. We look at this. Ooh. You're going to get to watch Maurice Amazing Stuckenschneider do this dance. Preferably repeatedly, just like we're seeing it now. And honestly, Vedius, I feel like you picked a good one. Now, to be clear at home, people are going to wonder why no Ari, why no Ezreal. His exact words were no weeb shit. Sorry. Had to quote him. Can't misquote there. But so it took out a lot of the K-pop dances, took out a lot of the more exciting ones.
Yeah, so, but I'm pretty excited, so I'm looking forward to seeing him dance for me.
And now you guys have signs, which is great, because we get to explain something we're doing. Here on Ready Check, we like to try new things. We've got something special planned for today. We're going to put up a play on the screen, good, bad play. They're going to find out. They're going to give us reactions using the emotes you see behind us in the wheel. This is My Face Win. So first up, Vedius. Okay. Got a play for you.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think. Let's run the clip.
Let's see what happens around mid lane. Maxwell is here. That's the wrong way.
The wrong way, unfortunately, with Maxlor.
Guys, do not make fun of him. It's a new champion in the jungle. He's not used to playing things like Taliyah.
Yeah, the awkward wrong way Taliyah seismic shove. How you feeling, Vedi? What you got from me? You got
so
four
I'm
choices?
definitely gonna go with this.
Yeah.
Who's spamming the question mark? Is it Maxlor?
Literally, if he was my jungler, I would have just gone to him. Maxlor? Maxlor?
You got to be nice to your jungler, dude.
No, I'm gonna do, bro. Why you pick my champ and then you like, well, no. This is my reaction.
All right, Vedi's gonna hit him with the question mark if that was him ganking the lane. Foxdrop, I want you to take a look at this next one. Let me know what you think.
All right.
Ruin popping the blast cone. Only Samek's there to try and harass them, but the Baron already down to 4,000. Cold is incoming. They shouldn't see him just yet, but they have to know he's going to be there. Ruin goes around the side. The Baron's still going low, and it looks like Ruin flashing back into the pit, but Cold, he has one chance to go over the wall, and Giants are not keen to give it to him, but they're basing some time, and it's going to get stolen! Cold says, nice to meet you, and thank you very much! Down goes Joko. Unicorns back on the board.
Clutch steal from Cold. Catastrophic Baron from Giants.
I'm going to have to go with... Yeah, this is fine. The whole reaction from Giants right there. Just, yeah, no.
The moment it gets stolen, Joko just throws that emote up, and he's just like, yeah, this is fine.
Okay, no worries. No big deal. Not gonna worry about it.
It just happens, you know.
Nothing you can do. It's a 50-50. You win some, you lose some. I love it. Vedius, take us through number 3.
All right, hit me. Let's go.
Keeping our eyes on Attila, he has found Cobbett.
Dinger.
Jack Troll. Oh, the fear!
Oh, first blood! Kobby's getting thirsty. Jack Troll's not going to give him a drink.
So I had a close choice between two different ones, right? But I'm going to go with this one for now because I would have been so smug.
This is why I want emotes and competitive so bad.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like the level of BM that would come through?
But I will admit that the dabbing penguin was definitely a high second.
Penguin
like,
too.
these
this
two,
one is close.
Both are very apt right now.
I do not approve of dabbing or condone dabbing, but if ever there was a moment to whip out the dab, that would have been
That would have been it, yeah.
All right, we have one more left. Foxdrop, this is our last replay. This one's a little special.
Oh,
Let's
God.
take a look. All right, guys, so this is an NA LCS. So I need you to understand. Look at that man in the background. Look at the sidestep. In Team Liquid's moment of victory, there's our boy Ender.
No, that's quality.
Wait, which one is that?
I don't know.
Which one are we going with?
I'm going to go with all of these, honestly. I think that's all of them at the same time.
That's for you, Ender. Welcome to the team. I hope people replay that clip forever, because seriously, like the best footwork of a real-life human being we've ever
Fleet
aired.
footwork live.
There you go. I love it.
Everything
Everything
that's
from
7
Ender.
foot tall, that was remarkably agile.
And sadly for Ender, that's not the only clip we have of him doing uncomfortable things as a referee. So we'll get more of those later in the season. Personally, I'm looking forward to it. However, we have another game to play. And in Schalke, we take the best and the worst of League of Legends champions and turn them into functional team comps. Now, this week, you guys sent in your suggestions. Let's take a look at the first one from @Moobeat. Oh, Moobeat coming in.
Okay.
All right.
What's Moobeat got for us?
All right, let's find out. Be coming up behind us shortly. Gentlemen, remember, we're keeping this one tight. You took too long last time. You have Bard, Mordekaiser, Amumu, Trindamere, Heimerdinger. I'm going to give you about a minute. Starting now, tell me where you put these champions.
All right, easy one. I'm thinking Mord, Bard, bot.
Okay.
Trindamere top, Amumu jungle, Heimer mid.
Yeah, that's actually way too easy.
That's like a very standard comp.
That's yes, it's actually a standard comp right
You actually got really good AoE. Like, that's a great comp. That was easy. Moobeat, come on!
Poor.
I have a theory that it's really hard to troll people in this meta, though.
Yeah,
because
this is a real
this is
comp.
a viable composition.
Yeah.
And
the only other one I would have gone
Heimerdinger.
for is a Mumu Heimer bot lane. I would have considered
You
that.
could have stuck the on-hit bar top lane.
I personally, Amumu top, you put the Mordekaiser mid, and he funnels into the Trindamere jungle. That's my theory.
You could have done that.
Funnel comps are toxic, and let's just keep going through them. All right, the next one, since we're doing a second one this time around, the next one is from God Derps Leona. All right.
Of course there's a Leona in this one.
Oh, of course there's a Leona.
Oh, gosh.
This one, on the other hand, I like.
This one's a little trickier.
Leona, Shyvana, Sona, and Hecarim. Where are they going to go?
You could chuck the old Hecarim in top lane and get that Shyvana in the jungle. I reckon you could do like a cheeky Vi, Leona bot. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, I reckon I would do some kind of kill lane bot. Yeah, I'm fine with Vi, Leona bot lane.
Sona mids.
I would have put Sona mid, and then you have either the Shyvana or Hecarim in the jungle.
That's the flex right there.
Yeah, that's the flex.
You don't know where that's going. That could be both.
To be fair, I mean, your kill lane bottom could also work with a Hecarim, right? As long as the Leona's down there.
I don't think you can. I don't think so. I think you need the all-in of Vi, like her early level 3.
I wouldn't mind a Sona Hecarim bot. You press E on Sona. And
extra movement speed is extra damage,
goes
baby.
super fast.
Memento showed us what Hecarim can do last time with the EU LCS. Showed a lot of what he can do.
Yeah, so I think we go. I think we're in agreement.
Yes.
Shyvana top. We'll put Hecarim jungle. We'll do Sona mids, and then Vi, Leona bot.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. Of course, you guys can let us know what you thought of the compositions. Maybe give us your own interpretation over on Twitter. Because really, there's some crazy stuff, and it's up to you in this meta to decide where everything's going to go. Of course, two teams that could bring out some of these champs are definitely Fnatic and Vitality, two innovators in the league. And they're going to be facing off in our last game of the day. And when we look at this one, I think there's one matchup that stands out above all others.
Yeah, it has to be the mid lane matchup. For me, I look at Jizuke, I look at his performance recently, and it has not been up to the scratch that we saw from him last split. This guy was getting solo kills left, right, and center. He was the MVP of Spring, and then coming into this split, he has been dying a surprising amount.
Yeah, Jizuke, not so hot. Cap's pretty hot, honestly. This guy has been... I mean, as far as Fnatic's sort of shaky starts being, Caps look like probably the only real reliable person on that squad.
And we've seen Caps on the Kai'Sa and Jizuke on the opposite side. We've seen some bans taken away from him, but it does feel like he's really struggling. Fnatic, on the other hand, no strangers to the fact that Caps is the carry of that team. They were willing to put everything into him in week 1. We did see more from them yesterday, though, when they opted to take Reckless out. Caps did feel a little bit like he was starting to come into his own.
Yeah, I felt so. When we saw him on champions like Irelia, something we were talking about earlier in the day was that now we're seeing so many versatile mid lane champions that can really utilize some of our mid laners' true talent. And Caps, when he got his hands on that already, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's really fun when you can get good players on champions that let them show that they're good players. We don't want to see them on the Karmas. And it's sad that Faker, one of the best players the best player of all time, was put on Taric duty. How about we get some more of these Aurelias out here? I'm all for that.
And that's part of the reason why we saw the shift for Fnatic, because Reckless, he wasn't someone that was comfortable on the current meta. Rather than learn a bunch of new champions, they just got their top laner in. They had Bwipo coming into that bot lane position, playing a phenomenal Rise, and his contribution to the team was very impressive to watch.
It was pretty solid, considering he had the highest damage on his team this game. Yeah, that's not too bad for someone that's subbing into that carry role in the bot lane. And all that's a huge debate with Fnatic. So is Bwipo, porque no los dos, as they say en español, with a little bit of English accent.
Exquisite.
I've been practicing.
Très bien. Why am I Italian?
That's Italian as well.
You guys are ruining so many cultures. But these are the guys who get the highlights. So as in Bwipo, you're right. Why not both? Get both top lanes in there. I think there's a lot of people sad that Reckless isn't playing. But the good news for Fnatic fans is these guys look good. Fnatic is still putting up results. They're winning currently more games than they did in the previous thing. We can see if they get the 2-0 week and how it works out for them. I want to find out because they're both at 2-1. That is Vitality and Fnatic. And this is a very close decider for who's going to make it into that top 4, that top 3, because top 2 is decided, but the rest of the spots really do feel like they're up to
I think this draft is going to be absolutely crazy. We're going to see so many different picks being flexed all over the shop. It's going to be a huge game to watch. Final game of the day, definitely tune in.
And there'll be some great color casting on
There will be some great color commentary. The good old Fox shot.
So he did this joke yesterday. You weren't
it's
here,
not
so you get him leeway.
It's just
literally,
it's just
self-praise every opportunity. Well, Foxdrop, the great, wonderful, and venerated color caster, truly the most fantastic one to join us.
Those cool though. Those less awkward. I know that's not your area of expertise, buddy.
It's true. It's not. You're taking me out my
comfort zone. Really going to make it cringy for me. He doesn't know what's going on. Well, let's take us to predictions. Let's see if Vedius predicted anything cringy. He is leading, so we might be the defining standard here. We take a look.
Oh! Ooh, pretty similar between Foxdrop and I. What's this bottom one? You're going for the Vitality out with Foxdrop.
Vitality, it has to be right. I know they had a bad yesterday.
Yeah, sit down. Come here. Let's just, good job.
What is Vitality?
Okay, that's good stuff.
Oh, I'm glad losers band together. This is great.
Oh, yes, I
got one Roccat.
These guys are losers. Look at me predicting Fnatic. Whatever, mate. Listen, they had it good yesterday, but that doesn't mean they're going to do good today. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, only one of us gets to do the world's
I don't think that's true. No, I'm here as well, mate.
Okay, well, question for you, Vedius, Mr. Welshman at the moment. Wonderful, Foxdrop. Thank you for the effort there.
It pains me to be Welsh.
All right, yesterday, I understand. It's a deep pain. Schalke.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the deal. Roccat, you were like, Roccat are going to beat Vitality, one of the best teams in the league. Today, you're like, they're going against Schalke, a team that's really struggling. What changed for you? The fans aren't selling them out. You're selling them out in a heartbeat.
I'm not backpedaling because I never said that they would beat Schalke today. I'm just quantifying that.
Just a question. Does Deficio have to make you shake on every one of your predictions so you'll follow through with the team?
But the thing about Roccat is I actually saw like loads of glaring weaknesses yesterday, particularly in the fact that they can't leverage early game leads into successes. And what I do think is that Foxdrop, that Schalke will not sacrifice the same early game mistakes that Vitality did yesterday because I think they're a little bit more reserved. And I also think that their inconsistencies mean they had a bad game yesterday, they'll coin flip and they'll have a good one today.
Or they'll just be bad again.
I mean, that's the nature of a coin flip, right? It's not like it evens out eventually.
No,
it doesn't mean it's going to even out immediately.
Yeah, it does.
You flip tails for a year.
That's high-level analysis.
That's a sunk cost fallacy, mate. Right there. You think that's going to work? It's not how it happens, by the way. It's a slippery slope, buddy.
We'll see how it works.
That's true. And we've narrowly avoided talking about Unicorns Love Splice, which is good because I'm the odd man out there. So
we'll get to that later.
Around Roccat after week 1, but they did manage to bounce back yesterday in a massive upset against Vitality. Well done, Vedius. One more time. He got it. The only one who got it. Good job. But it did look like a pretty good game from them in the end, and we have to remember Roccat is a team that made it to the spring playoffs, looking to establish themselves as a top team. Playoffs were rough, but the path they took to get there did look pretty good.
Yeah, I think that Roccat last split, like, I saw like a lot of potential, yet they weren't able to properly execute upon the potential that they kind of had within them. They had a lot of the right ideas. They kind of looked like a good team overall, but they couldn't really turn it into results. And because of how chaotic the end of our split was, they were able to edge their way into playoffs, largely because they had the 2-0 over Misfits. But this split, they're looking to find a little bit more consistency. They're looking to actually move further than that 6th place spot. And so far from what we've seen is already a pretty good start to the split.
And when we look back on the playoffs, one guy who really struggled was Memento, really not putting up a good result, huge detriment to his team. But yesterday, this guy was clutch. He was everywhere he needed to be. Foxdrop, what's your impression of Memento?
Yeah, and this is what Maxwell said on PGL yesterday, that if Memento gets going, he will carry the game. And we saw him in this game yesterday. He was really, really solid. He got off like a 6-0 start or something like that. No, probably not where you want all your kills as a team, but either way, huge props to him for making it happen. And the problem was, like Vedi said, they didn't do a really solid job on translating that into a late game lead. But either way, when you have good early games like this, you can kind of figure out this stuff afterwards. That's the hard part. The hard part is getting that far ahead in the early game. They got the hard part down. How about we work on the other things as well a bit later?
And the interesting thing was when we got to late game, a carry revealed himself on the Roccat lineup. We were always wondering about individual talent for these guys shining through, and it was Prophet yesterday, I think, who really stepped up in that late game.
Yeah, definitely. We heard in the interview from Memento where he said, okay, guys, we've messed up our mid game a little bit. What can we do? And it was Prophet saying, we'll just wait for late game fights. We have an AD carry. They don't. We have the Vladimir, and we have everything that we need to really win these late game fights. So let's just stall it out for that point, and they executed upon them beautifully. They had that great base defense, they had that good fight around Baron, and I think that the combination of Prophet and Hiku having a really good game as well just kind of came together to result in a lot of big team fight wins.
That phrase, go late, wait for late, kind of triggers me a little bit because it's what your 0-5 Gangplank says at the 10-minute mark when you're like, listen, buddy, what are you doing? Oh, we got late game.
To be fair, it was like, what, the 6-0 Trundle this time? So it's a little weird, not something we're used to seeing.
If Prophet said it, I mean, Prophet is the Prophet. He called it, and there it is. Those late game team fights, Vladimir is so good in that scenario. He really carried those, and if you can have a similar, you know, you mix those two together, the good early game from Memento and the ability to carry in the late game, you've got a ragtag bunch of okay-ish League of Legends players.
And they're coming together, man.
Yeah,
Roccat retaining their talent for the first time. Looks pretty good for them overall. But of course, Rockat's opponent Schalke have struggled in their first game. Let's hear what their coach had to say earlier today.
Hey everybody, I am joined by Andre, coach of Schalke 04, who are off to a little bit of a rough start, but I wanted to start by saying, Andre, your team seems a little bit more cohesive than they did last split. They're playing a little bit better together, but the execution still seems to be missing something. What do you think that is?
So as you said, the team seems a bit more cohesive than last split. But now what we need is a bit more time to also integrate the new ideas that Maurice brings to the team, and also the ideas that us coaching staff and the rest of the team believe that are the correct to the game, to Maurice as well. So it's a bit more enhance that cohesion, enhance the synergy between Maurice and Nuke especially. And once we got that together, I believe that will show way better performance and way better results on stage.
So you guys just need a little bit of time. And I'm glad you mentioned amazing. I'd like to maybe elaborate a little bit on what does Maurice bring into this squad that you didn't have previously?
I mean, mostly Maurice brings a decisive voice. That was something that we were missing. We were not very active or not very proactive in the last split. That was something that we wanted to change. I think we changed it. Maybe we're a bit too much now, maybe a bit too aggressive now, maybe not, but we want to regulate that. But I think it's way easier for us to bring down the aggressiveness and to bring a bit down the proactivity than to try to bring it up. That's what we were trying to do last split. So mainly Maurice, that's what he brings to the team, a leadership voice, some good shot callings and some new ideas to how to play the game of League of Legends.
Speaking of new ideas, we're seeing a lot of new different styles coming into League of Legends. You guys have actually played against the Funnel Comp twice now, so I want to ask your very educated opinion. Do you love it or hate it?
I don't love it or hate it. I mean, it's a strategy that some teams decide to use it, some teams don't. I think it has counters. I think that especially against Fnatic, we showed a good way to counter it with global pressure. Yesterday, not so much, but I think we are also starting to see some good games against it, especially, for example, today and yesterday on LCK. Some two funneling strategies, also Kai'Sa Braum that got absolutely destroyed by just sideline pressures and try to winning the game as fast as possible. So I don't hate it or love it. Just a strategy. It has counters as other strategy, and I think it works better. Or it works way better against teams that are not that comfortable or prepared against it, like we were, for example, yesterday.
Awesome. Well, last question I want to ask you then. Do you feel comfortable and confident going into your match against Roccat today?
I mean, yeah, we feel really confident going against Roccat. I think we have all the tools that we need to win. I think we are way better prepared than yesterday. And we just want to do our best. We just want to do what we do in scrims. And I think that if we manage to do it and if we manage to get the strategy that we have in mind into the game, then it should be a win for us.
Excellent. Looking forward to seeing it. Thank you for joining me, Andre.
Thank you.
Now back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Pyre. Interesting to hear the coach's perspective on everything that's going wrong. A lot of what we already suspected kind of coming through. You know, Maurice, amazing, is supposed to bring in a lot of this aggression, but the pieces still aren't clicking. Well, we could see that the pieces weren't clicking. So let's talk a little bit about what's been going wrong from Schalke from your guys' perspective now that we've heard from the coach.
Yeah, so when I kind of watch Schalke, and over the last 3 games that I've watched of theirs, I've tried to find some kind of style or tendency or something that we could latch onto to sit there and say, oh, you can play this way, or you can funnel through that way, or you can just rely on a certain player or a certain style to help you get wins. And so far, they've been so inconsistent with where they found kind of advantages and where they found leads that it's really difficult to do that. I think a large part of it is amazing joining the roster and how the dynamic is changing. We got to hear from the coach in that regard, but there are just so many different things happening for this team that I really struggle to find the consistency in their performance just yet.
From your perspective, Foxdrop, is there anything you can pinpoint right now that feels to be a bigger weakness than others, or something that's holding Schalke back?
I feel like it's just an execution problem for me. I mean, we mentioned when I was on the desk with Ender yesterday that everything Schalke did was absolutely brilliant up until the game started. Like, we really liked their draft, and we think that they had a good strategy coming into it, and you know, they took the Zoe with a smite mid lane. You don't do that unless you've got something very specific in mind, but they just weren't really able to execute on that. So just a question of execution for me, and if they can work on that, then they could be a totally different team for me.
Outside of just execution, though, sadly for Schalke, we did see some individual weaknesses yesterday. Vizicachi in his matchup versus Wunder, it was a rough road for this guy. Now he's going up against Prophet, a guy we just praised for being a fantastic late game carry on the side of Roccat. And you got to wonder, can Vizicachi step it up today?
Well, I really hope so, because this guy was our 2016 Summer Split MVP. He's been considered a top-tier, top laner for the longest of time. And right now his performance is kind of going down the drain. But you converse that over to Prophet, he's been looking only good over the last 2 weeks.
I think it's uncharacteristic, like you're saying, 2016, MVPs, not really something we expect to then fast forward to today or yesterday, I guess, when you're 0-3 getting solo killed in a tank matchup. I kind of think that's just maybe a little bit anomaly. I'm hoping, at least Schalke are definitely hoping that's an anomaly there, and he can come back to a little bit of form. And Prophet, he's looked really, really good. So going up against Vizzy, that's definitely someone he's going to have to step up if he doesn't want to feed his ass off in lane.
All right, but here's the deal, guys. We're praising him. We're talking about Vishachi. Hey, he needs to step it up. We all predicted Schalke.
Yeah.
We all predicted Schalke. Now, I know what my reasons are, but why don't you share? We have a few seconds left before we get into picks and bans. Talk to me really quickly about what you see in Schalke that makes you think that they're going to come out on top today. Go on, Foxdrop.
I'm not convinced. When I watch Roccat and I watch the way they win and the way they play, there's just not much convincing stuff there for me. You know, it's hard for me to grab onto them and say, yeah, this is a team that I have confidence in and put my trust in them to go for a prediction. On the other hand, with Schalke, even though they've, like, yesterday's game we can just write off, for me at least. I'm going to write that one off, and I think they've had some good performances.
Definitely fair, Foxdrop. I'm going to have to cut you off. I think you're going to speak for all of us there on that Schalke prediction. We're going to see how they do, because at the end of the day, we're going to answer your questions in the EU LCS post-game lobby, so be sure to send those in using the hashtag #PingTheLobby, though. For now, it's time to kick off today's action in the EU LCS. Here are our casters for Roccat versus Schalke.
Thank you very much, Drakos.